Welcome to the Grab the Map podcast, where we don't just look at it, we grab the map. I'm your host, John Crutchfield. Excited today to be able to talk to Christopher Linger. Just checked in with him a little bit and thought it would be great to share his experience with you guys. You all know that we love to hear from you. So if you want, please reach out to me. I answer every single email that comes to grabthemap@gmail.com. So if you want to connect, please reach out. But without further ado, just get right into meeting Christopher Linger. Christopher, I've been playing this game lately. You know, it's an old game. I didn't give you any notice, but it's this old game called Two Truths and a Lie. So do you want to get started with just telling us two truths about yourself and maybe one thing that we have to guess that might not be so true? I gave him absolutely no prompting
Yeah,
here.
no
Yeah.
setup on this one. Okay, so two truths and a lie. Let's see. Man, I have shot a howitzer, which is a cannon, right?
Yeah.
Um, I have, man,
That's
I
pretty major right there. Why don't you just tell us, like,
right?
have you really shot a cannon before?
Oh, come on, let me get through all three of them because we got good
Okay,
ones.
okay,
I'll come up with some good ones.
okay,
I have been under 100 feet of water in front of a an eel with a 12-inch head.
okay.
And face to face, right? And I've jumped out of an airplane.
Jumped out of an airplane. So if I had to guess, uh, I would say you haven't jumped out of an airplane.
I have not jumped out of an airplane.
All right, I'm taking a guess just because you spent 3 decades in the Navy, and I know they have some airplanes in the Navy, but I thought it was a good guess. So pretty cool, man. 3 decades in the Navy. Is it 26 years? Is that right?
Yeah, just over 26. Yeah,
Man,
yep,
we
it was nice.
appreciate you so much for your service. And man, I tell you, every single day I get to invest in real estate. I'm appreciative for folks like you that are actually out there keeping us safe. So we appreciate the time that you spent in the Navy.
Thank you for the support. I
Um,
appreciate it.
so Chris, why don't you just jump right in and tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and we'll just take this conversation from there.
So, probably about 20 years in the Navy, I finally started doing the investing purposefully. Met my wife, and I already was a landlord through moves with the military, buy a house where you live type of thing. Bought one in 2005, and when I left in 2007, couldn't sell it, so I kept that one. And that kind of gave me that bug towards real estate. Like I liked having the mortgage paid for and continuing a little bit of cash flow. And when I met my now wife in 2017, she was actually starting her purposeful investing, buying two quadplex at the same time. I was stationed overseas, so I didn't have an opportunity to go buy anymore at the time. And we developed conversation, decided, hey, we're going to invest together, and then turn that into a marriage as well. And so 2018, we bought two more quadplexes. 2019, we bought two more, a few more, I should say, because we ended up by the end of 2020, when I retired in September of 2020, we had 35 apartments together. And when I retired, we already knew that we were looking towards syndications as an option for us. And so we did a little bit of pre-planning, some education, and then we bought into an education program. And today, in what is this, May of 2024, we have 3,000 apartments, four mobile home parks, two self-storage, and about $1 million in notes. And
That
we sold
is
most of that portfolio.
amazing.
Yep.
That's
So,
amazing. I hear so many directions we can go because you're active in the military, but you're also investing, right? And
absolutely.
it wasn't accidental, but you tried something due to a complication, like not being able to get rid of a property and realize, hey, this is something that I might actually like doing.
Yeah.
Um, and then you just kept going, right? So let's start there. You found something that you like doing. What caused you to start thinking, like, let me scale this into an actual business?
It was really what really was a turning point for my mindset was going from a single family house to a quadplex, buying a quadplex. And the three tenants pay the bills. That fourth tenant gives you extra cash. So you
Hmm.
can use it for reserves, you use it in case something happens, but on top of that, you have it for your own cash flow. And That was a turning point for us in the small scale stuff. And at one point, we were looking at, my wife came to me and said, man, what about this 20 unit that's downtown Austin? It's $2 million. And I was like, we don't have the funds. Like, we don't have the down payment funds. And so for us, it was a matter of we were limited by our knowledge at that point. But up until then, we were just limited by what were we willing to take on, right? Because we were self-managing those 35 apartments as well from long distance. And so on that side, on the growth and scale side, it was really about education at that point and making sure that we found a mentor that we felt comfortable with to help us push ourselves. And then it was just about taking action. Once you have the knowledge, don't sit on it. Don't get that analysis paralysis. Start taking action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I love when I hear the story of somebody who just doesn't get the information, but then starts executing, right? You got a mentor, you start getting education, you got somebody walk with you through the process, and then you just started taking action, right? And you probably did like I did, and you get addicted to the numbers, right? Okay, if I get this many units, then this number covers the expenses, and this number is extra for more investments. So that's pretty cool. So tell us a little bit about what you do today. What is your favorite type of deal to do? What are you looking for today?
We like a balanced portfolio. And so we use multifamily. That's our main focus of assets to acquire. That's what we're chasing after when we're looking for the next deal because it writes off all of our other income. I'm retired military. I don't have another job. So I'm a real estate professional in the eyes of the IRS, and we can write off any other income that we make using the
Hmm.
depreciation that we get. Other assets that we do look at and we will join in on are mobile home parks and storage because they have great cash flow. So right now, the four mobile home parks, one of them we closed in December. We're already getting a 6% annual cash on cash. And the other three we've owned for, I'll say 18 months or more, and we're getting somewhere around 10% a month. So it's been a
Yeah.
great opportunity to cash flow on those. We're not buying the ones with broken down cars and the wife beaters and all that stuff. The typical when somebody hears mobile home park, there are different classes to the mobile home parks, just like there is for multifamily. And so we buy ones that are in reasonable condition. Maybe they need a little bit of upkeep. Maybe it's a tired owner or something along those lines, but we're looking for something that we see that 10% cash on cash and hopefully be able to double money within seven.
And I think what we also need to keep in mind here is that you're also you're also like this is a tax deferred or a tax advantaged, probably is the better way to say it, investment. So it's not like 10% cash on cash when you're in the stock market. It's 10% cash on cash, and then you get to write off stuff.
Right.
So that's the
Yeah.
advantage. And especially lately, we've had the bonus depreciation options and things like that go along with purchasing mobile homes, purchasing mobile home parks, equipment. Of course, how I see your accountant, don't take my tax advice. Um, but there's just so many advantages to come with investing in the self storages and the mobile home parks, but also in apartments. So that's pretty cool. So now you syndicate, right? Now you actually raise capital. Tell me about the thought process where you went from doing just your own projects to now helping others invest in projects with you.
Multifamily is really not, I'll say it's not a huge difference from running your own small portfolio if you ran it like a business and not a hobby. For us, the transition, like walking through these properties, people are overwhelmed. They look at the property and they're just like, man, there's so much here. I got to take this in. We were actually at a point when we walk through the smaller things. I can walk through, I can feel the grade in the flooring. I can and know that there's a foundation issue that I have to take into account. And it's harder to do that on a bigger building, but you can still pick up on some of the other stuff. And so we were able to bring a lot of our experience from the small multifamily stuff over to the large in being able to underwrite conservatively, making sure that we knew in advance what our business plan was going to be, what's the deferred maintenance, what's our expectations for upgrades, things along those lines really helped us to be able to feel comfortable and confident going in with capital partners, right? And bringing other team members because like I mentioned to you that we're in Austin, based out of Austin, but we own property in Dallas, Houston, Kentucky, North Carolina. We have people who are boots on the ground in those areas because we're not there every day, but we do have people that can go by every week or every other day if they needed to, if there were problems. And so that's the other side, that we built those relationships over time to feel comfortable with those people that we're partnered with.
Yeah. So, what was the reason for that, though? A lot of people will go and they'll do their own deals their whole life, and you meet them and they're 65, 75, and they're tired landlords, right? And they just own their own portfolio their whole life, which is certainly their prerogative. Like, why did you start doing deals with other people when you were having so much success on your own?
One of the reasons I can tell you is because we were trapped into the location, because we were self-managing. We're taking phone calls, we're doing turns, we're answering um, maintenance calls, going and helping out and doing stuff. And we were working on the in the business as opposed to on the business.
Yep. Yep.
And we really want to give back more. We really want to do more things for more people. And my wife's an anesthesia provider. I was an operating room nurse. I was military. We have these networks of people who are super busy that don't have the opportunity to go do these things on the level that we were doing them, right? We were in the dirt. We were in the trenches doing stuff on each of these properties. And these other folks are highly paid, highly taxed people that they have to show up to work in order to get paid. And so for
Right.
us, it was a great way for us to give back to our friends and our professions in saying, hey guys, we have a way to help you build your wealth, grow some more retirement cash, and have a tax deferred growth without having to spend your time doing it. So you can still go and enjoy your time with your family. One of the best things that we see with investing, with bringing investors, is that we get to, like, our first comment to like surgeons and other providers like that are super busy, they're in the or they're in the clinic. Hey doc, I would love to get you out of the clinic one day a week or even an afternoon. Let's start with an afternoon. What would it take? How much do you make in an afternoon? Let's see what we can do to make that happen. And if we can get you that on a monthly basis, then we feel like we've done something for them. And once they see that half an afternoon to themselves, now they want a full day. Then eventually they want a couple of days. You know, my wife has gone 22 months without working and decided she wanted to go back because she missed it. And we have other people who have cut back to half time in the operating rooms because they've made enough money with investing that they're comfortable with stepping back. And some of them have even joined us in the capital raise side, the running projects, doing syndications.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a natural progression for you just with you serving in the military, you having that heart to help people in the operating room. And then once you have this financial success, you now starting to nurse people in the financial world, right? So I hear that in your approach and your voice, and I appreciate you for sharing that. My audience, folks who listen to this right now, usually are people that are getting started in real estate or they've been in it for a while and they're just looking to scale up. You have some tips for folks that are getting in the business, maybe for that starter person and then also for that person that's trying to scale up because you've done both.
Sure. And we've worked with some people who were wholesalers. That's an option to get in. Notes are a great option to get in to get started and build some equity in a I'll say fairly quick way at a low entry point for the most part. Training for learning how to do that is fairly cheap. And depending on the type of notes you're buying, it can be fairly discounted in comparison. But that becomes an active income source. So it's not the tax deferred stuff. That's where the investment side for us and real estate professional status comes in handy. But for the new person, assuming that they want to come in for little to no money involved, it becomes partnering with people that you know and trust, maybe getting involved with somebody who's already done what you want to do. You get involved with them and start working with them, and then you build some equity with them and part joint venture or partner or even work for on a commission
Yeah.
base. And those are great opportunities to make money, learn a skill. We'd say that there's three pillars. You have time, experience, and capital. So if you can contribute any one of those to a partnership, then you add value and you can get value out of that because you're borrowing from the other two pillars if you only have one. So the person who has a lot of time on their hands, but they don't have the experience and they don't have the capital, they just need to partner with some other folks. It's a great way to get into it. Now, if you're military, you have the VA loans. People overlook that stuff and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy a single family home. But like I
Hmm.
mentioned earlier, if you're young, man, if I knew this when I first came in, I would have been all over it all day long. If you're young enough, just coming in the military, buy the quadplex, self manage while you're there. And then when you leave, you give it to a realtor to manage it. And then you're getting four incomes out of it. And it makes a huge difference. And you do that every time you move. I didn't hear about this until I was in the military about 11 years. Somebody made comment that if you own 10 houses by the time you retired, you would be set. Like with your military retirement and the income from the properties, you'd be pretty well set. And
It's
idea
true.
about that. Had no idea about it. That's 10 years that I lost out on, probably at least four duty stations, four other homes that I could have done this with. And instead of buying a single family, I would have bought a duplex or a quadplex so that there was that other income source while I was there to offset my expenses while I was living on the property. House hacking is
Absolutely.
a
So
thing.
many people, that's one of the best ways to get started, right? Especially when you're young. You may or may not have a family that's totally needing your own space and separate environment. Having other people pay down your debt is just a wonderful invention. So it just makes sense. What about the people that are looking to scale up?
People looking to scale up. So we did that. All right. One of the things that we did, we had 35 apartments, and in 2021, we sold a good portion of those. We found investors that we knew for a long period of time, a good period of time. They wanted to get into or build out their portfolio in the areas that we were at. And they came to us one day, hey, we want to buy, can we buy that quadplex from you? I know you guys just finished doing the reno. We were going to keep it long term. And we're like, okay. We gave them a number, and they went to the bank, got a primary loan. And because we've done notes, we felt comfortable building our own note. We did seller financing for the down payment. But we did that by the legal means. We did it by doing a second position note on another property that they had equity in. So we gave them
Yeah.
the money for the note on that other property, and 24 hours later, they handed it back to us as the down payment. So they got into these
Hmm.
properties very cheap. We got pretty much all of our equity back and a little bit extra. Plus, we had any notes that we had and bills paid off by that primary loan. And the only money left in there was really some extra equity that we had acquired during ownership. And now those properties, we no longer own five properties that these guys pay notes on, and they're paying us every month. And we don't have insurance. We don't have to do cleaning, maintenance calls, anything. We're just collecting a
Yeah.
paycheck on those products. And so in the end, it was a great way for us to scale because we freed up our capital that we had tied up. We dropped it back into joint ventures and syndications, because with a syndication today, it almost doesn't matter where you're at. You're not going to be able to do a $50,000 down payment for an investment property, right?
Hmm.
Even if it's a single family, you're probably going to have to put 100, 125 at least. But for
Right.
$50,000, you can get into a syndication and get the ball rolling. And if you're on the active side, if you're a general partner, that side of it pays you without cash involvement. Whatever cash you put into the opportunity is considered passive. And so you're right there alongside with your passive investors. Your money is making money just like theirs is. The extra equity comes when you work within the process of the business plan and you're helping the business plan happen, as opposed to just letting your money help the business plan happen, if that makes sense. And so that
Absolutely.
so that's a
Absolutely.
great way to
So
scale.
I mean, it's a great way to scale. And also, what I really like that you said, it's probably one of the most passive ways to scale, right? Is finding operators that you can trust and placing your capital with them. Again, notice I said that you can trust, that have a
Absolutely.
track record for doing great, I love people that have a background where they can demonstrate, hey, this is faithful loyalty for 26 years in the Navy, right? That's beautiful, man. Um,
Appreciate
and then the way you talk about it, like I can hear, okay, I'm freeing people from portions of their 9 to 5 or all of their 9 to 5, right? And them seeing, okay, man, maybe I can have my wife not work for 20, did you take 22 months?
Yeah.
Geez, that's a blessing. Just all of these things
It
that come
is.
to mind with people who are listening to this. Okay, maybe I need to get closer to folks like Chris so that I can actually be invested and move my life forward, right? Focus on those things in life that I actually want to spend time on. So, talk to me a little bit about that, right? How has real estate changed your life? What does life look like for you now that you're investing, you're retired, versus what it looked like when you weren't?
I will say with any entrepreneur, you have struggles with family who don't get it, right?
Oh,
Struggles with
100%.
family, struggles with family and friends that they just don't get the whole process. And so the difference for my life that I can tell you right off the bat, my original intention with retirement was going to be to travel nurse wherever my kids lived because they're spread out. I got three daughters, they're all adults. And I said, if I travel nurse to each area 3 or 4 months out of the year, I get to spend time with each of them individually. And that was going to be my goal, to be able to do that and just do that around each year. And when I met my wife and we decided on this journey of real estate, we saw the vision of what we wanted to do. But the biggest thing for us was freedom of time and location. And so today, my life is different in the fact that I have walked away from the operating room. I've walked away from nursing as I retired from nursing as well, retired my license. This is all I do, but I can do it from anywhere in the world. So we are still able to go to our daughters and go see them for a little period of time that works for them. I was actually, when I first retired from the military, our first grandbaby was born, and a month later. And just
Yeah.
before retirement, my daughter reached out. She said, Dad, I know you're not going to like actual work, like where you have to show up somewhere. She said, would you, it was at the October of 2020, still COVID going on. She said, I have to go back to work because I lost my job. I had to get a different one in the process of being pregnant, and I'm no longer entitled to FMLA. So I was actually the nanny for my granddaughter from the time she was 6 weeks till the time she was 6 months. So 4.5 months. And to be able to do that's the epitome of a great
Yeah.
life. Being
Epitome of
able to
time
step
freedom.
man,
Yep.
and the relationship we have, that little girl, her new now brother who's a year old, the family, we just have this great connection because we're there. And I've told the other two daughters, if you have kids, I offer the same opportunity. I may not be able to do 4 months, but I will still come and babysit. And we actually did that again when the brother was born. We went and babysat for about a month. So that's the difference in life for us. It gave us a quality of life where we control what we're doing. The side where family doesn't necessarily get it all is the fact that as an entrepreneur, you stepped away from a 40-hour work week with 9 to 5 hours to work an 80-hour work week that could be 12 hours a day, right? Or 16
Yeah.
hours a day.
Those random calls, right?
And sometimes they don't get the fact that we have coaching calls in the evening, coaching calls in the morning, and sometimes the kids are there and they just want our attention. We've never just shooed them off. We'll put them on our lap and let them sit off just off screen or something like that. We don't have a problem with it. But mom and dad are like, hey, this is a little tougher for us. I think it's their feeling more so than ours, or more so than the kids. The kids just want to be involved and see what's going on. We step away, we go to another room, we go to the take calls in the basement or whatever and have a nice little background or whatever like this. But it's been a blessing to be able to do this stuff, not only to help other people so that they can free up their time, but so that we can free up our time to be available when family needs us.
Real wealth, right? Really talking about time, freedom of time.
Absolutely.
So why don't we do that? Why don't you tell us how folks that want to connect with you, learn from you, do a deal with you, how can they connect with you moving forward?
The easiest way is to just email us at invest@upplex.com, up-plex.com. If you just go to the website, there's a spot there to sign up as well. We have a lot of free information on our YouTube channel, and which you can access through the website as well. But just email us at invest@upplex.com and we can start that relationship.
Yeah, that sounds great. I really appreciate you for jumping on the podcast today. I know a lot of times when we jump on these things, we're in between a mad dash of things that we have going on. So taking the time out to help people just have another story, a real person. This is somebody who's actively served our country and also has actively built his own business. Now is helping others build their businesses. Chris, man, this is very good. I found you on LinkedIn as well. Christopher Linger. Am I saying it
Linger.
right? Linger on LinkedIn, Linger, Liger, guys. I'll put that in the show notes. But he's also out there on LinkedIn. Not sure if he's taking connections, but you can certainly follow him. Anything else you want to share with our listeners, Chris, before we jump off?
I'll tell you the biggest thing for us, we've been able to triple our net worth since I retired. And had we started, we didn't realize the people that we talked to about the passive investing side and the process of it all before we really dug in and got the mentor, had they just continued the conversation, we invested with them, we would have been able to jump that a little bit faster, a little bit further, because that extra year that we didn't take action, it made a big difference in where we're at today. I feel like it did. And
get started, take action. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate.
absolutely.
Don't say I'll get to it later. Get a mentor. Meet people that you can do deals with and get started.
I met a guy who's at a meetup who said that he has been looking at multifamily for 5 years, and we're like, great. How many deals are you in? How many doors do you have? How many investments? Oh no, I haven't yet. 5 years. In 5 years, we've done so many things. We've been through so much in real estate. Even just one purchase would have made a huge difference for that guy in his life. And I felt a little badly that he never took the action, but that's really the biggest thing to say is take action. Once you have a little bit of knowledge, you think of it like school, right? Even if it's an investment and it doesn't necessarily go right, you got an education out of it. You got some experience. So hopefully you find the right people, you find somebody that you know and trust, and you're able to do well in their process that they have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great way to wrap up the call. Folks, don't forget that you can find us pretty much everywhere at Grab the Map. I had a great time talking to Christopher Linger today, experienced real estate investor and entrepreneur. Chris, I hope everything happens well for you and your family, your investing, you as a papa, all of that good stuff. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate it.
All right, folks. And if you're out there and you're listening to this, don't forget to hit the like or subscribe button wherever you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're looking at this on your podcast place. It just helps us share this with more people. So go ahead and click those buttons, make the algorithms jump funny. Don't just look at it, folks. Grab the map. Talk to y'all later.